All right, guys, we have got to talk about what happened with the markets today following the Micron earnings last night, and also my video that I put out this morning in the pre-market hours, because we have what I think is an important view from a technical standpoint of the markets, given the sort of price rally that we were seeing at the beginning of the day and where we ended for the day. So I'll give an update on Micron. You can check out how my technicals played out from what I showed to you, because I really do think they're worth coming back to see again and again. And you can actually play the supports even on a day trade basis, not financial advice, but I'm just saying that if you copy these, you can actually watch and see the supports hit, the resistances hit, and it's really things that you can use to benefit what you do with the trades that you make, and even potentially the investments that you make. So I'll put up here for you Micron, MU, and then I'll also put up SPY, QQQ, IWM, NVDA. We really got to talk about NVDA. Tesla, got to talk about that one as well. I'm going to share with you one of my trades that I put out there, Roblox, today, that the technicals finally played out for that one. And as a matter of fact, I don't even know that they're done yet. I took my profits on this one, but I think that there's a little bit more to go, and I want to share that with you guys. And if you guys want to see my buys and sells, talk to me and my community members, see these technicals before they hit YouTube, all that is available through the link for the Patreon down in the description. We'll talk more about that later. Here I got the chart for you for Micron, and you can see the day that we had. So back here, this is yesterday in the post market, when after the earnings came out, got that skyrocketing candle that we see right there. And then check out that resistance that we ran into. And I talked about it in this morning's video. We had to stay on top of the 38.2 to see further upside. As a matter of fact, the market, this candle, a half hour before us, this thing opened at 9 o'clock, this candle that you see on here, because the hourly chart opened right at the 38.2, came up and got pretty hard rejection off 114.83. As a matter of fact, we were, let me see what the high price was on that one. I was off by 3 cents. So I would call that pretty darn good. Got that rejection, sold back down the 38.2 that you see on here, and got tangled up with the moving averages down here. So we need to get back on top of that 38.2 if we're going to see further upside, if we're going to see that run up to what I have here for the 50% Fibonacci retracement level, or the 61.8 that's all the way up here. And like I said, I would tell you about why this is important today. We're going to cover that after we talk about the indices as well. Now, just real quick about Micron, which, by the way, check out that touch that we had there in the last candle for the last hour of the market. The high price, 111.10. That is 10 cents over this resistance that you see right here. We got rejected and closed all the way down there. And now we're kind of stumbling sideways as we get into these post-market hours. If tomorrow comes along and we can't get back up over that resistance, we could see this down to about 106.30, which is about where you see this support down here. And if I zoom out a little bit, you can see more of that, and you can see more of those prices. Now, mind you, a lot of this lower stuff was prior to their earnings coming out, and the higher stuff that I have on here is what I thought could happen following those earnings. The excitement just couldn't hang around for us, at least not on one shot. We'll see if we push higher. We got to break that 38.2. That's critical if we're going to see further upside. If not, we could see this thing kind of stagger around all this support that we have down below. 106 down to about 103. And then the top of this is about 101. There's that 100 even-ish that comes along down in here. So let's take a look at the indices on this. SPY could not keep its trend line, and this is important for us. On top of that trend line was going to be a bullish thing for us. The market opened, and we actually closed in the first half hour of trading, because this started at 9, ended at 10. The market opens at 9:30. So on this hourly chart that we're looking here, in the very first hour, we came down below that trend line, sold off pretty big, but you can see the support that I said this morning at 571.02. Watch that for support. We could tumble back down to it. We did. Check out that long wick we got when we tried to go down through it. So yeah, opened here, came all the way down, and then ended up closing up from there, trailing up a little bit. We have got to get back on top of that trend line. This is like how it's been going for me when I do my morning recordings. My voice coming out loud and clear, and I kind of get choked up on my words there, and then I have to take a drink of water or something like that. That's what this market reminded me of today. It just kind of choked and kind of fell apart on us, and that's important because the Qs, the same thing happened. Now, we didn't necessarily have that trend line drawn on there. However, I mean, you can definitely draw one on these. I just didn't have it for this one, but I did have my support and resistances. But if you check it out, I can draw across the top here. You can see that trend line that we needed to follow as we sit on top of resistance there. It was support at first, but we got rejected on the very next candle over after we fell down through it. And check out that trend line. We have got to get back up on top of that for the Qs if we're going to see further upside, especially if we're going to see 500 come to fruition anytime soon. If not, then we can be watching these support levels that are on here. And I have plenty of videos in the past that show the different values that I have based on where we're at. Now, mind you, these technicals are all put out over at the Discord, available through my Patreon ahead of time prior to hitting YouTube. You can talk to me and my community members over there. And some people ask me, hey, what do you think about this stock? Could you run some technicals on it? And when I have time to do that, I absolutely do that for them. I love doing this stuff, and I love finding opportunities, especially the ones that I didn't necessarily see ahead of time, but the community found them. As a matter of fact, that's what happened with Micron. It's pretty darn incredible. I do have a play to share with you towards the end of this video. Cashed in on 30% profit today on Roblox. We'll get to that soon. So let me put this back up here for you. IWM, similar story. Hourly chart. This time, the 50-hour moving average that we have is what we got rejected off of. And I really do think that for IWM next week, Friday, I'm going to keep saying it every video that I have, especially for the new viewers. October 4th is a huge day, especially for IWM. That is non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate. The more that recession is spelled out for us, the worse it is, especially for IWM stocks. The more Goldilocks is spelled out, that we see unemployment rate coming in steady or falling to tighten labor market conditions, especially with today's GDP print coming in at 3% still for the final for GDP for Q2. Excellent. We just need unemployment and non-farm payrolls to come through for us. So those labor market numbers are the thing to watch, especially for IWM. Let me pop this back up here. So IWM, we made it back up into this area. We fell down through it. This is quickly turning into, instead of support as we had it, it's quickly turning into resistance. I'll wait until tomorrow to see what I want to do with that color that I have there. And just so you know, just in case you're not aware, if you break through support, you break down below it, that does become resistance then. The floor becomes the ceiling, same thing for resistance, that if you break up above it, that then becomes a floor for you. So the ceiling becomes the floor. It goes both ways. For your support and resistance, there's usually something happens. Pretty interesting with those price values around those numbers that you have. So let me put this up here. Also, NVIDIA got rejected off its top trend line. Man, I thought from the pre-market, if we could just take that, and we got early signs early on that it was going to be a good day. But as soon as we drop back down below it in the second hour of trading, I mean, it's somewhere between, I guess this candle started at 10 o'clock. So between 10 and 11, we were up above the trend line and just couldn't hold on to it. And the rest of the day ended up keeping this as resistance instead of turning green into support. So for NVIDIA, man, I thought we had a shot up to 131 today and just didn't come out for that. Now, mind you, look at this formation we have. That's looking quite a bit like a bear pennant. Maybe that pushes us down to support that we have down here. Now, this one I will change its color to green because we are solidly up above that value. So that support right around 121. Down below that, you can see that 118. Tesla, check this out for Tesla. Just further evidence of these technicals that you can play these supports and resistances. Look where we got to. Now, mind you, it's even more accurate when we look at the intraday values, whether it's post-market or pre-market. When you look at this, we actually look like we missed by quite a bit on this one. So 261.75, where, as I said, we had resistance at 263.42. If I drop from the weekly chart down to the hourly, look at this in the pre-market hours for Tesla. Right there's our candle. The high price on that, 262.68. My resistance that I had was 263.47. So we missed it by, let me see, looks like less than $1 off for that resistance. Couldn't quite get there, sold off and just kept going. And now this area down here, because we are solidly above it, we can call that one support as well, that we're back into that support area. And where we find ourselves for Tesla, by the way, we are actually above a rising wedge pattern. I said breaking through the top of this was a very bullish thing to see. And well, we got there. We saw significant price appreciation from 245 up to 262, so $17 on top of it. I would say that that is pretty darn good. That's a very, very healthy jump for Tesla to make that sort of rise. So now we have this trend line, the top part of this rising wedge, as support for us as well. Let me change colors on this resistance band to this area of resistance to area of support instead, and we will keep on going. We'll keep the video rocking. So over to Bitcoin, up above the 200-day, still there, sort of making a megaphone pattern on this one. We got to be able to keep that momentum going upward. If that momentum continues to rise, we could see that 67,696 come out sooner than later, but with the trend line coming down through, that could cap us off, part of a consolidation that we see, or a drifting off of prices from Bitcoin's all-time highs. If we fall to the downside on this one, you can see that downside level coming in. Actually, I should move this one up here for you. There we go. And that should be 61,471 is the value that we want to be looking at for Bitcoin for that one from the top side of this. When we're down below it, that was where that value was, where we could hit our heads. Now that it's support, we want to look at the top of that for where we could find our footing should we tumble back down through this. The same thing at this price value that you have here for the 64,230. That is where we could find support now that we're above it. Now that we're above the 200-day, we got the 50 EMA and SMA coming up. And we'll see if we can hold on to it. Because if we can, we get a golden cross. That's a very bullish sign for us. And we got to keep the momentum going. Daily momentum is looking pretty darn good for Bitcoin. So keep an eye on that 67, almost 68,000 to the upside. Because as long as you keep the 200, that can be, like I said, a very bullish thing for us. And I told you about Roblox. What did I see about Roblox? What was the play there? Let me go out to the daily chart. Rising wedge pattern here. Plus, we have a range-bound trade, the yellow line that you see at the top of this, yellow line at the bottom of this. Actually, the yellow line's right here. That's the range that we have been trading in for Roblox. Got near the top, plus the rising wedge. Thought there was a sale coming in soon. Today was that day. Caught myself 30% on that put option for Roblox. As a matter of fact, if anybody held on a little bit longer than I did, they probably made a little bit more, assuming that they got it in the same time that I did, which was, I believe, about a week ago. I think it was Thursday of last week. I post those buys and sells over at the Patreon, by the way. So if you guys want to see those buys and sells as they come out, see the technicals before they hit YouTube, talk to me and my community members. We'd love to have you over at the Patreon. Click that link down in the description, sign up, join the Discord. You'll see us all there. You'll see everything there. And if you guys want to learn to do this technical analysis yourself, you can do so using the link for StockMo Academy. StockMo has hooked me up here with a link. You can click on that, sign up. You learn all about technical analysis. You learn what to watch out for. Especially the biggest thing is the value add from the bread recipe trading strategy. The course walks you exactly through how to set it up, what you need to be looking for, and there's a Discord community that goes along with that as well, where you can toss your ideas around with people and really use that as a learning community to help springboard yourself forward. Oftentimes, people using that bread recipe trading strategy pay for their course usually on like a single trade a lot of times. So while there's still no guarantee of profit, it is a strategy that I use myself for trading, for finding times to get in and out of those plays. And I got to tell you, I absolutely love it. It's still the best thing that I've found, and it is so easy compared to anything else that I've used. That link down in the description for StockMo Academy. Click it, use the code word doctor when you sign up, DOCTOR, and that's going to give you a massive discount, making an even better value. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning. We'll see you in the next video.